once again, on behalf, as we say each year, but once again, truly on behalf of the mayor, our town council, and all those that I represent as residents of Garner, we thank you for being here today, because we tell everybody Garner's a great place to be. It's both a great place to be in business, and it's a great place to visit, it's a great place to live, and a great place to work. But one of those gems we have is the Garner Technology Center. And we're going to talk a little bit about it, but I first want to just sort of give you a brief recap of some of the economic development activity that we've had of late within our town. Next slide, please. So since January, the town of Garner, in cooperation with our partnerships with both the Chamber of Commerce, North Carolina Department of Commerce, RTRP, Wake County Economic Development, we've had about 52 requests for information or requests for proposals come to our region. The key fact on the next three is that we could not submit for 29 projects. So out of 52, we had 29 projects. Over 50% of the projects we had no product for. We were able to submit on 23 of those projects. We were able to be fortunate enough to have 4 site visits, and we have 8 active projects still, named projects, that work in our region and through the state right now. So Garner sees a lot of activity. And we're fortunate to be a player in those games because of the assets that we have. Some of them were in place from the recent county managers as they talked about the things that are here and the things that have been put in place by our council over the years for infrastructure, water and sewer capacities and things. But the key part is, as we rode around, for those that took the bus tour today, thank you again, but product. We have land, but not necessarily product. Sometimes, you get requests that say, we would love to have a 50,000 square foot building with 26-foot high ceilings, 2 dock doors, and we're willing to invest $4 million in your community. They're looking for an existing building, and we don't have it. When you get people looking for Class A office, we don't have it sitting here on the ground ready to go. And as Leanne and Adrian would tell you, sometimes that's the hurdle in economic development, is having the product in place at the right time. We're coming out of the recession. Folks have a lot of pent-up cash. They're still looking. And our goal is try to be positioned in a spot that we can make a difference. And sometimes it's just having that product. Next slide. So when you ask what are the products in our region, both Leanne and Adrian, Leanne's going to be your next moderator and Adrian was your past moderator, will tell you what we're seeing right now is that the software IT industry, and we have Michelle here from SAS today, thank you for being here, has made up in this last quarter about 30% of the new and expanding announcements just in our region. The bio-farm life science that we all like to chase, which is the big investments, Novartis of the world, their expansions has been about 11%. The biggest thing you'll see right now in life sciences, and we have Bill Bullock here today with the Biotechnology Center, is we've had a lot of acquisitions of late. We've had companies that came, they want to be in North Carolina, but instead of putting bricks and mortar on the ground, it's sometimes financially more feasible to acquire another company and take their product to market through another company. So we're seeing a lot of that. Financial services, healthcare is continuing to grow. And a new one that's been here but's beginning to see an expansion is the smart grid, clean tech, with electric cars, Cree, things like that. You're beginning to see a growth in that, the solar farms. And so you're going to continue to see that as we continue forward to be a market we look at. And all the rest of the other that makes up about 39% has been advanced manufacturing, some office, and some research and development that fall outside those categories. Next slide. So what have we been doing with the Garner Technology Center site? The Garner Technology Center site, as you got a packet today with you for the flyer, most folks know of it as the ConAgra site, but we did away with that. It was old style manufacturing, and we're not heading back in that direction. But the town of Garner, along with Wake County Economic Development, traveled to the annual International Bio Conference this past month in San Diego. It was one of the largest trade shows there. We've worked in conjunction with the North Carolina Biotechnology Center to be in the pavilion. And the key thing about this conference that we continue to try to look at, this is our 4th year at beginning to place those seeds out there for folks to look at our sites. 15,000 plus leaders were there. We had 2,500 CEOs, 50 states, 70 countries. There was 1,800 exhibitors and over 1 million square feet of floor space that we walked numerous times a day, as Bill will tell you later when he gets up. It was tremendous. But the thing is, we're there. You know, we were there. We had two other municipalities there from Wake County out of the 12 municipalities to help support that and to talk about what's happening. And in a second, you'll see the key features we have in Garner for what we consider one of the premier sites in all of North Carolina, but we know it's the premier site in Wake County for redevelopment. We had two great speakers there, and it was interesting, the interesting dynamics between Sir Richard Branson and former Secretary Hillary Clinton. But the key thing is, you know, to be proactive, to grow talent, and that's the key part, is to grow talent. We're here with 3 Tier 1 universities. We have a lot of talent, and industries go to where the talent is. Used to, talent had to go to where the industries are. Now, the trend is industry comes to where the talent is. So part of that, next slide, is that while we were there, we participated in the career fair. We had a 5-hour window at the International Bio Conference where Town of Garner worked in conjunction with the Department of Commerce and Wake County Economic Development at a career fair. We're not job recruiters, but we were there touting the needs of the life science industries in our region. Our universities cannot turn out enough talent that our industry needs to stay in this county. And they sponsor a website that you're welcome to go look at if anybody want to change careers or look for a job. It's called workinginthetriangle.com. We're smarter from any angle. It's a great website, great job opportunities at all of our life sciences, and a lot of our technology-based companies are out there now posting their jobs, trying to match talent. I had more people come through that had more degrees and names and adjectives and surnames after their things that I couldn't even figure out what some of them were. I figured that they looked like they were 27, but they'd been in school for 20 years, so it was hard to tell. But it was really interesting. But you know, it's a market that we're there. And so we have talent here, but we're still trying to bring in talent. And so that's part of the reason the quality of life is important, not only in Garner, but all of Wake County, because these folks that we see coming out, they need those amenities to want to be here, and we need them to be here also. So finally, on that date, we released a new video. So I got a 6-minute video to show you what we released at Bio on the Garner Technology Center site on why we know it's the premier site in Garner and in Wake County.
The Garner Technology Center site near Raleigh in the world-famous Research Triangle Park can be your home in Wake County, North Carolina. We've experienced explosive growth over the past 30 years, and driven by an influx of talented people and innovative businesses, this economic expansion will surely continue. What is the Garner Technology Center site, and why should you locate here? It is the premier industrial site in Wake County. Its 98 acres rest along Interstate I-40 and is just 10 minutes from downtown Raleigh, 20 minutes from RDU International Airport, and 25 minutes from the world-famous Research Triangle Park. The property has over 3/4-mile road frontage along the interstate, easy access for employees and for shipping and receiving through the interstate road system, served with all utilities, and the site has a pre-treatment facility in place. The site has been test-fitted for multiple build-out options, including a 1.2 million square foot facility with over 5,000 employees. The property has had extensive due diligence work already completed, including a Phase 1 and Phase 2 environmental study, wetland delineation, geotechnical studies and soil analysis, threatened and endangered species survey, cultural resources review and studies, stream buffer reviews and determinations. The property has been accepted into the North Carolina Brownfields program and has a fully executed agreement in place. The Garner Technology Center site also is extremely competitive in terms of cost and incentives. The site is owned by a willing and aggressive nonprofit economic development corporation with only 3 board members, allowing for quick decisions and unique pricing opportunities. The EDC owns $2.5 million of water and sewer capacity credits that can be transferred to a new owner and tenant of the site. They can offer the land at below market value. The property carries statutory tax credits for redevelopment, has utility infrastructure on site, has impervious credits for redevelopment, and has a local community willing to participate in offering incentives outside of the possible state incentives for development in North Carolina. Based on a typical taxable investment of $80 million and a property need of 40 acres, this site would generate a capital savings of about $5.5 million to the end user. Those costs are realized through the value of the land, the value of the utilities that are already in place, the environmental studies that have already been completed, impervious credits for property redevelopment, and water and sewer tax credits for capacity of over $2.5 million. On top of the capital savings, less any state of North Carolina incentives, this investment could yield an additional $4 to $5 million over the first 8 years of operation, bringing total incentives for an $80 million project to almost $10 million. On the map behind me, you can see there's more than 525 life science companies. North Carolina has the third largest biotechnology cluster in the nation, and the majority of those companies are concentrated in Wake County and the Research Triangle region. Advantages, there are numerous advantages of locating here. Access to skilled workforce. In Wake County alone, 47.5% of our residents over 25 years old have a bachelor's degree or higher. All told, there are 12 area colleges and universities with a combined enrollment of more than 170,000 students, providing a constant flow of well-educated workers. Almost 1.1 million residents live within 20 miles of the property. Our region has the fastest growing in-migration in the nation. One of the great benefits to this site also is access to research. There are 3 Tier 1 research universities in the immediate area: Duke University, the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and North Carolina State University. Along with those 3 universities, you have a nationally recognized community college system with customized program for the life science industry. You also are afforded access to technical and professional support service through the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, the Hamner Institute for Health Science, and RTI International. When it comes to selecting the community for your business, yourself, and your family, there is simply no smarter choice than Wake County and Garner, North Carolina, a 2013 All-America city. In the immediate area, there are many performing art venues and museums offering an array of cultural opportunities. The site is just minutes from 4-star restaurants, regional retail, shopping, and downtown Raleigh. Finally, Garner is home to some of the best parks, greenways, and walking trails in the region. If you have an interest in locating to North Carolina and being in the heart of the life science region, we welcome the opportunity to discuss the Garner Technology Center site and all the benefits it can provide. Please take a packet and give me a call. The Garner Technology Center site is the gateway to the Triangle.
So as you can see, we've come a long way from being reactive to being proactive at what we do in promoting our community, and that's the key. Anymore, it's all about the relationships you build, the people you learn to know, and the people that know you'll follow through on things when they ask. And the key thing is, over the last 6 years, we've been planting seeds, and now we're at a point where we're beginning to get the calls that say, can you submit? Can you come and talk to us? And let's look at what Garner has. And that's a great spot to be in as we continue to move forward. One of the last slides was, as you can see in our slide, we were talking about workforce earlier and what's happening. We're very fortunate in Wake County to continue to see the lowest unemployment rate in the state of North Carolina. And in this last year to date, you can see we're down to about 5.3% for unemployment rate. And that's just a great number. And it means a lot for us. What it also means sometimes too, though, is it's harder for you to find those qualified workers because you have to pay a little more for them when the economy, when you have a lower unemployment rate. But that's a good thing for us overall. Next slide. So with that, we thank y'all for being here. Neil limited my time. Everybody else that knows me knows I could talk all day if you give me a chance, because I truly love Garner. I love what we do here and where we're heading. I've got a couple of minutes left, according to my watch, so I've got about 3 minutes left on my allotment. So if there's any questions, I'll take those. And if not, then I'll turn it back over. We thank y'all for being here, and you can see me at any time today or night, and I'll answer any questions you have. Thank y'all again.
That's the best I've got, guys. It is an honor to be here. Neil and I go back a long way, and I actually lived in Garner as a child, so I feel like this is my home too. And I do have to say, to be in this amazing venue, what a huge business asset for the town of Garner. I've been here on many occasions, so I really have to say too that Amphisa Matthews and I are great friends. So to be here personally and professionally, this is very rewarding. So thank you for that opportunity. I do want to ask the panelists to come on up as I kind of set the frame for this topic. We have Michelle and Ken and Bill. And if you guys will come up and take a place at the table. I am an economic developer, and I get to go all over the world and tell companies why they should locate in the Research Triangle region instead of anywhere else in the world. And I also get to help companies expand in this region. And one thing I get to see is where we are strong and where we have opportunities to become stronger. And with us today are people who can help us understand those opportunities. Who in the audience, and not an economic developer, I see Ken and Carlotta and several people out there who have inside information, but who in the audience can tell me what year IBM located in the Research Triangle Park of North Carolina? It's close, Mayor. 64, 65, so you are all very close, which began an IT revolution in the Research Triangle region of North Carolina and the state of North Carolina, and changed the face of North Carolina. That IT revolution has never been stronger than it is today. And in the 80s, we began a life sciences revolution. And as you heard Tony say, and Bill will tell us more, we are third in the country in life sciences, and in some metrics, we are first. But we also have our third wave of innovation-based job growth for the Research Triangle region that has already begun and is very, very strong, and that's clean tech. And we believe that future decades will remember this as the era of clean tech in the Research Triangle region. But what's really unbelievable is the convergence of these strengths through software meeting hardware, through hardware becoming smart, through cars driving themselves, through textiles having sensors, through transformers becoming smart. So these are the things that the Research Triangle region and its communities, such as yours, are well positioned to win. Markets, create markets, and to get companies to come here and locate and create jobs and investment, which is what we do in the economic development world. So today, we're going to hear from three leaders, one in life sciences, one in clean technology, and one in IT and big data, or data analytics. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about each of them. I'm going to start with Ken, who's in the center. And Ken works for Schneider Electric. He's a global alliance manager, and he manages multiple commercial and technical partnerships with industry leaders. And he focuses on creating energy management solutions with these partners. Schneider is located in Morrisville and in Knightdale. And in addition to that role, Ken is a member of the Research Triangle Clean Tech Cluster, which is an organization that runs out of the Research Triangle Regional Partnership. And in fact, Schneider Electric became the second founding member of this now globally recognized organization when a massive weather delay, and I mean massive, forced him to sleep on a luggage conveyor belt. And I think all four of us have probably done that as much as we travel. And he was at Kennedy Airport sleeping on a conveyor belt when he met some of my colleagues who were also sleeping on a conveyor belt. It is a glamorous job, trust me. and rode in a tightly crammed up van to get to LaGuardia to try to get home to the great state of North Carolina. He met our colleagues, and that led to Snyder becoming the second investor in this organization, which is not a glamorous way to do a business deal, but fruitful nevertheless. So we will hear from Ken. We will also hear from Michelle, who is to Ken's right. Michelle Eggers works for SAS. She's a director of product management, and she drives product strategy and business development efforts around their business analytics and software portfolio. And she works to define and manage the product roadmaps in this area of data visualization, analytics, data management, and business solutions. She's also very active in an organization, which is how I've come to know Michelle, called Triangle Area Analytics Group, which is a powerful organization across industry verticals looking at how data and analytics impact all of our industry strengths. She's a personal testimony to the work of the Garner Chamber and chambers and economic development organizations alike. She moved to this area because of what she had heard and learned about our culture, just like, and about our assets, our traffic or lack thereof. Just as we heard earlier on stage, that brand brings in much needed talent. She's also experienced the heightened benefit of camping overnight at Jordan Lake for the first time ever. And she and I were talking before, and we have agreed that camping is great fun for one night, and then it's nice to go home. And then I'd like to introduce you to Bill Bullock, who's the closest panelist to me. Bill is the Vice President of Bioscience and Industrial Development in North Carolina at the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, which is a private nonprofit corporation that you guys are familiar with that brings life sciences, jobs and investment and growth to North Carolina. Bill's efforts are directly focused on life sciences company expansion and recruitment to North Carolina. Bill began his high school career set up for success with a perm his senior year, and he's saving that money for other things right now. But his professional career got even better because his first job was to run a fertility clinic for mice. And that, I'm not kidding, this is real stuff. But when I asked him about something special about himself, he told me, and I really want to get this right, so I'm going to look at my notes, that he's currently working his way through the 7 wonders of the world, and these are his words. To date, he's walked on the Great Wall of China. He's been to the Taj Mahal in India. He's snorkeled at the Great Reef off of Australia. He's visited the pyramids in Egypt. He's been on safari in Zambia. And he's walked upon the Garner Technology Center site. So, that is his answer to the question. So we're going to start today. Our format is going to be as follows. I have asked each of them to spend a little bit of time talking about converging and emerging markets in their company, and also to talk a little bit about the opportunities they see for communities within the Research Triangle region to attract companies who are creating these new markets and new opportunities to their community. So we're going to begin, and then after they each speak, I have 3 questions that I'm going to ask, and we'll turn it over to you to ask some questions too. So we're going to start with Ken, and then as soon as Ken is finished speaking, we'll move straight to Michelle and then to Bill, and then we'll follow with some questions. So, Ken?
Well, I'd like to say that when we talk about clean tech, we looked at that sector up there, what it really means to Schneider Electric. And at Schneider Electric, what we do, you probably know perhaps some of our brand names like Square D, and our facility in Knightdale used to be known as the Square D factory to everybody. It's now our facility in Knightdale. And what we do is we're making a connection between what is called operational technology, which is typically the machines that run in factories, much like it used to be in ConAgra, and with the internet. And this is called, now you may have heard of the Internet of Things. And really what clean technology is about is using this type of power of the Internet of Things to make energy smarter, to make cities smarter, to manage traffic flow. And one of the reasons why we invested in the Research Triangle Clean Tech Cluster is that we found an ecosystem of partners with this merger of both operational technology and the very strong informational technology of companies like SAS, IBM, and Cisco, who are already our partners in many of our alliances. And at the same time, we're in a climate where in our own community, we want to practice these things. So if the town of Cary, for example, is using some very advanced water systems. They have smart water. And we're all working together to understand how we even can apply what we do in our backyard in collaboration. So for us, being with like-minded people and bringing employees here that are not just making circuit breakers like they used to, but are thinking of these new ways to make our community and our lives better is very important to us. One other thing I'd like to say is that I'm very much like Jim Hartman. I came here a long time ago, and I'm very vested in this county and the communities here. But I have my wife and my daughter who are Wake County teachers, and they're working in their way for the future. And I just like this opportunity, and thank you all for being here to tell you why this is a great place to do business.
Great, thanks. As Leanne said, I work in product management at SAS, and for those who aren't familiar with our offerings, SAS is a global software provider, and we really focus on providing analytic solutions to companies worldwide. Our heritage is so deep-rooted within the Triangle region, going all the way back to 1976, out of the roots of NC State from agriculture research. And now, looking forward to today, we are in 136 countries, I think, with 70,000 company sites doing things across all varieties of industries. And it's a real testament to, I think, the foundation of the heritage that we had coming out of the academic community, but also too, it shows the importance of analytic insights to companies worldwide. So to give you some examples, whether we are helping a financial services company determine people that are likely to purchase an offer or product that they are trying to market to them, taking into account the credit risk that individual may have, whether we are helping governments and insurance agencies determine the likelihood of fraudulent activity around a claims, or on a lighter note, whether we are helping a retailer determine how many of a certain size shoe should we have on a shelf. Those are the types of analytical insights that we're helping companies around the world do. It is wonderful, though, to see from an emerging perspective that the importance of the companies within the Triangle area that Tony was talking about, our needs and the growth of that continue to grow given the proliferation of information, given the world we live in today, right? Social media, sensor data, all of this information continues to grow, and so the need to make sense of that information is a growing need, whether you're in biotech, clean tech, or just in any of the industries that we've mentioned. So it's really exciting to see that growth and to be part of that here.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Bill Bullock. I'm with the Biotech Center. Just very quickly, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, as Leanne noted, we are a private nonprofit. We're funded by the state, and our job's really to help grow a biotech industry in the state of North Carolina. So I won't go into great detail on how we go about that. We've been around a while. We take a long-term perspective in that. We have grant programs that help kind of translate good science to something that's commercial. We do low-interest loans to get companies started. And my group really focuses on kind of leveraging that asset for economic development. So, when Leanne mentioned the notion of emerging and converging, I mean, those are two great words. It basically defines what biotech and life sciences is. Biotechnology in and of itself are really a set of tools in molecular biology and chemical engineering and biochemistry, et cetera, that are applied to different things. And the growth of the industry is really all about convergence. You can see that in a material way in the Research Triangle region in companies like Medicago and the Park, who are actually, it's really a vaccine company. They're doing human vaccines, but they grow that in tobacco in greenhouses. So, I mean, that's probably one of the most prominent examples of kind of an agricultural and pharmaceutical convergence. But, to Michelle's point, there's nothing that really, probably a poor term, but I'll use it anyway, the kind of big data revolution where analytics is affecting everything. It's certainly impacting healthcare, it's impacting research and development, it's impacting agriculture, precision agriculture, personalized medicine. So all these things are really convergence of technologies, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about this, but for the region to be good at biotech, to realize the benefits of the science to create jobs is really all about innovation. And one of the things that the Triangle is really known for is kind of creating one of these ecosystems around innovation. So as we talk a little bit more about what communities can do, that's certainly a big piece of the puzzle in life sciences.
Good. Thank you, Bill. So Ken, first question for you. Schneider Electric is an advanced technology and manufacturing company located in Knightdale, their manufacturing facility, a municipality located just outside of the urban core of Wake County, much like Garner. Knightdale provides a blend of rural and urban attributes. And can you talk about the opportunities and challenges of being located in a best of both worlds environment and community?
Sure. First of all, I'd like to say that when we, like many companies, moved some of the manufacturing that was Square D out of that facility, we liked where we were and we wanted to stay there. So we repurposed the site, and we now also have tenants where we don't have as much space, and we've created a very nice environment and continue to make that our home, and we'll expect to continue to expand that area. It's a great place to be. It's a very pleasant environment if you've ever been out to that part of Knightdale. The people, our employees like living in that area. There's a lot of growth and expansion in the suburbs, like Wake County, or I should say like Wake Forest. The fact that there's not a lot of traffic and nice roads gives us an opportunity to drive electric cars. And we have about 6 or 7 employees now who come and plug into Knightdale and get to basically drive for free. And that's not so easy sometimes in a more populated area. The location, particularly with 540 coming in like it did, gives excellent access for any type of trucks to come in and all types of freight. And so the access is very good because we still do deal in some large items in some cases. One of the interesting things that's very good about that area is that we're very close to the North Carolina Wireless Research Center. And as we work on this Internet of Things concept and connecting many parts of the world and processes wirelessly, having that in our, right near in our community is a great asset, and we're now taking advantage of it thanks to some of the connections you've helped us make. Now, there are some challenges, probably the biggest of which is out-of-towners don't know where Knightdale is. When they come, they say, where's Knightdale? So we have to, sometimes, if you even look at our company directory, we'll sort of put in parentheses Raleigh, so people understand that Knightdale is part of the region. So these are really kind of minor things. The other sort of things are we're not quite as close to hotels over there or some of the restaurants we might want to go to, but quite honestly, it's such a short ride into Raleigh or these other areas to get that it really isn't a major problem. But it is something that you have to think about a little bit, but nothing that we'd be real concerned about. And in some cases, it's a slightly longer commute for those employees who are living in the southern suburbs or the western side of Raleigh. But again, the roads are improving. Things are happening that have made that really not a major factor for us.
Good, thank you. And Michelle, as you demonstrated in your opening comments, big data and analytics are enabling and empowering technologies across many industry sectors. And thanks to companies like SAS, the Research Triangle region has built a global brand of being a global leader at helping companies turn big data into better business. How can Garner use this regional strength and this regional brand to attract companies to their community?
I'm going to focus on, I think, 2 key areas. One I mentioned at the beginning with the deep academic heritage, and there's been mentioned in some of the previous sections too. I can't emphasize that enough. Even though that was where a lot of our roots are, we look today at a strong linkage that SAS has with all of the colleges, universities within the Triangle region and across North Carolina. And that's in 2 fronts, both from a research perspective and partnering with them to look at innovative areas and move forward, and collaborate on that. The second, though, is in academic talent creation and really partnering together through the development of the next generation of users and having that that building within so that those employees are staying within the Triangle area. And I think having that continued partnership has helped us to continue to innovate and to create a great ecosystem. The second piece, echoing or continuing on with the convergence, when I look at the types of partnerships with the companies within the Triangle area that SAS has done, I think that's a real asset to the marketing, because if you look at those light companies that we've been talking about these last 10, 15 minutes, that's a real asset to say, hey, you should be here because this is where innovation is happening across these variety of areas. And I think by focusing on those two areas, that will be a real asset to Garner and to just the broader Triangle region. On a personal note, just to continue with my example that Leanne had mentioned about being a testimony, I have worked for SAS for 12 years. I was hired born and raised in the Chicagoland area. Love it. My family's still out there and love that area. But when about 4 years ago, I got a promotion opportunity to within SAS that required us to move down here. And my family, we jumped at the opportunity to do that. I have 2 small children, and I looked at this area as a wonderful life opportunity to not only provide a wonderful educational foundation for my children, with all the assets from a cultural and environment and being outside all year long, all those positive things that we have to offer. And I think that for companies, providing their foundation here, that's a great asset to attract employees to those companies to want to work here because they know that this is a great place that they might reload to. So.
Good. Thank you. And Bill, you have an extensive background and a successful track record at attracting and locating life sciences companies to the state of North Carolina, and I've been privileged to be a part of some of those projects with you. You have spoken with companies all over the globe about their must-haves with regards to locating or expanding. What are the primary drivers of the site selection process, and how might Garner promote their assets to the companies who are looking for a location?
So I actually have the magic bullet. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this. So write this down. Well, actually, as I was thinking about this, I realized this might be like that Geico commercial where they go, everybody already knows this, right? So it's interesting, in thinking this through and some of the projects we worked on, I have a bunch of words here, and when you list these things all out, it does kind of make you think, well, yeah, duh, really? We know this, but I actually truly believe that to do this well is doing a lot of really good blocking and tackling, but doing it all really well. And if you do that, you start to kind of rise to the top as a community. So let me walk through a few of these really quickly, and they're not necessarily in any particular order. Some of them the local community can do, and some of them the local community can't. But I mean, building partnerships regionally, places like RTRP and others, having good relationships at the state level, and even having national and global awareness of sectors you're interested in. If you want to go after biotech or life sciences, come to the Biotech Center. Tony's really good at this. He's building a relationship with us to understand the sectors of what you want to go after and what you don't, because it's very different. Biotech is not a sector to go after. Pharmaceutical manufacturing, fill finish might be, agricultural biotechnology, R&D might be, but biotech isn't. If you want small emerging companies, you probably have to have access to risk capital, and you might need to be willing to build some small flexible lab space so you can put those companies in there. It comes with its own set of risks. If what you really want is to put down a $300 million biopharma manufacturing facility, that's a whole different set of criteria, and it's a whole different level of community awareness. So, again, in no particular order, critical mass. Well, Garner can't build that, but you're already in it in our sector. So you're close to it, and you have a huge opportunity to leverage it. Product. Tony talked about product. The Technology Center is a great asset. I get it. He's marketed it really well. And we're going to do some more of that specifically around the life sciences that I talked about. Biopharma manufacturing, I think, is a fantastic opportunity for that site. And I will tell you, there aren't a lot of sites like that for those types of opportunities, and they are out there. Community. You know, the more your community can be ready for a project when it comes, I've worked in communities who have been very ready for this type of a project, and they win them. And I'll give you an example. Holly Springs has done a phenomenal job. They were ready for Novartis, believe it or not. They learned a lot in that process, but they were ready for it. Their town council was ready for it. The leadership in their community was ready for it. They came and talked to us. They went to bio, and it's a lot of the things that I see Garner doing right now to prepare to get a project like that so that when it comes, you can win it. And I can't overemphasize that much, community, and how much the community is together to go after some of these pretty sizable projects. Creativity and the willingness to really show, and that can be a lot of different ways, and one of them is financial support. Communities that win these projects are pretty creative in how they go after these. Labor, again, not necessarily something you can do at the local level, but understanding your labor pool, your flow, and having good connectivity, and understanding the specific needs of the types of companies you're looking for is important. And I think somebody said it, Leanne, about talent. Life sciences are looking for talent. You know, even the manufacturing projects are looking for highly skilled talent. And it's the reason we all want these jobs, is because they always pay well over county averages. I lump these three together: transparency, continuity, and consistency. I mean, and again, this is, people in economic development, this is a no-brainer, but companies don't like surprises in the process, be it a permitting issue, be it a political issue, whatever it is, and that goes back to community. The more prepared your community is that this project moves through, not only do you win that project, but it really positions you well to win the next project, because the site consultants get to know you. They will even call and ask for your community when they have the next project, because they have a comfort level and they know you can do a deal. Connectivity to the universities, connectivity to industry, connectivity to government. And again, you know, there's a lot of partners to help that connectivity. You don't have to do all that on your own. The center, the partnership, there's lots of, you know, the county can all help you in that level of connectivity. But again, that local level of connectivity shows well to a site consultant or to a company. I've only got a couple more to go, I promise. Vision. Companies want to come into a community that's visionary and thinking about the future, and strategic. I kind of put those two together. Longevity. They're going to invest the kind of money that we're looking at trying to find companies to invest. They want to know that once they come, you're going to work with them, and that kind of puts me to my closing point, and that is companies are really looking for a partnership. They're looking for a community that they can build a partnership, and that's an evolution in my time. Maybe that's been around for a while. I'm kind of a transformed scientist in this economic development role, but it's just not a piece of dirt. It's a great site. A lot of people have pretty good sites. Not as good as yours, Tony, but pretty good. But all these things together is what makes somebody like myself sit in front of a site consultant and they say, why are you here? And I say, you have to see this community in this site, because this is where you want to put your next project.
Fantastic.